Okay, so today we'll look into retopology. So I'll import this model here. It's a sculpture of a dog. And first thing we see, it's upside down. So we'll have to kind of fix the model first before we can even start working with it. So of course in modeling we have kind of two main approaches of modeling. Of course there are many more, not many, but quite a bit more approaches. But usually we have either low poly, well, it starts with low poly, but kind of regular modeling, and we have sculpting. So on one hand we start with a low poly model and we kind of build up the complexity. It's kind of old school way, and it really works well for, I don't know, low poly games. You wouldn't probably never create an actual sculpt in ZBrush or anything before you would start, I mean, at all. You would just create a low poly model. And the other one is the opposite approach. You first go with the sculpt and then you do retopology and you create a low poly model or lowish poly model using retopology. So on one hand, low poly is very good in the sense that you actually control each vertex and you can control really well everything, but the drawback is that of course you have to think both about aesthetics, about anatomy, and about topology at the same time. So it gets really hard. On the other hand, with the sculpting, first you create the model, you ignore topology, you ignore all the complexities of technical stuff, you create just the shape, the anatomy and all of that, aesthetics and all of that, and then you create a low poly model out of this using retopology. So this is what we will be looking today at, and this is a dog which was scanned. It's a sculpture in a city. So we see it was created in some other program. It's oriented wrongly. We'll have to orient it correctly. And you also notice that the center point of the object is in some weird position. So we'll use the shortcut D to actually change its center. So D is for changing the center point, pivot point it's usually called. And now I can orient it a bit easier. But you see it's still somehow weird. You know, I would like it to rotate it here, but it's a bit hard. Of course you can do it like that, but basically we are orienting those axes here, rotation axis, to the original axis of the model. Of course we could change this pivot point and orient it properly. That would be one way of doing things. And now if I want to rotate, you see it rotates the way I want it. I'll just undo it a bit, and let's imagine other way to do it is to orient it looking at world axis, not its local axis. So how do we do it? We double click on our rotation tool, and where it is, axis of orientation, I presume it's off orientation, so we grab world and you see we get almost the same thing. Okay, so let's say I'm happy with my dog here. Maybe you also notice that here it has these sharp lines. All these polygons are kind of sharp. I can really distinguish each polygon, and maybe it's distracting. So I would like to fix that. So I select object. I right click. I go to edge mode. Select all the edges. Shift right click. And it's soften edge, and now let's go to object mode, and you see it looks a bit better. I mean, that's just only an aesthetical kind of thing. You don't have to do it, doesn't change anything at all for our work, but maybe it looks better. Okay, so next thing to do is we probably would like to have this dog a little bit transparent. This is again aesthetical thing. You might want it or you might not want it. So basically anytime I import model or create model in Maya, it already has some sort of material. So here in attribute editor, I have somewhere I should have a material, Lambert. Here it is, Lambert, and I will just increase transparency a little bit. So you see it's kind of transparent in areas. Okay, now I will create another object which will be kind of glued to the surface of this. So first of all I need to make the surface sticky. in order my vertices that I'll create them to kind of stick to the surface. So it's very easy in Maya. You just hit this button here, make selected object live. And now after I hit it, I cannot select it, but you see mesh is live. So now I go to modeling toolkit, and here where it is, where was it? Quad Draw. That's our tool we're gonna use today. So I zoom in here closer. Maybe I should have erased those glasses. It would be a bit easier to work with. Yeah, let's do that. So I disable our live object is not live anymore, and maybe I should go to like faces and get rid of some of these. Probably don't need to also do this stuff. So you can do that yourself. I'm not gonna invest too much time on this one. Yeah, fine. I'm not gonna do it more precisely. You should do it. Okay, so again, make it live. Okay, the object is live, and I go back to my quad draw. Quad draw. How does it work? So the quad draw, basically I click and I create a vertex. You see I have a green dot. Click again, click again, click again. I have 4 dots. I hold shift, click in the middle, and I have a face. And you see it is being glued to the surface of my object. Maybe that's not, I haven't planned my work. I didn't decide where these faces should go, so you should draw first, or somehow decide where your edge loops will be, and then start modeling. So it's quite nice in Maya to do retopo work. It's pretty easy. This will be tricky. No, it worked fine. Okay, so we have that, and let's look at other things we can do. So of course I can grab vertex or an edge, and I can kind of push it, and it still is being glued to my surface. I can do again for the whole edge or for the vertex, for one specific vertex. So I can really precisely position it where I want it to be. Alright, let's see. And there are of course lots of tools here. So LMB or MMB is left mouse button, middle mouse button, left mouse button, and so on. Okay, so of course you can read all of that. So click to drop dots, that's what we did, just clicking. Middle mouse button, drag dots along normals. Yeah, so you don't know what the normal is yet, so we'll talk about it later. Control Shift left mouse button is to delete the dot. Shift left mouse button, click between dots to create geometry. What was it? Where am I? I lost it. Oh, anyways. Tab plus left mouse button. Tab, where's tab? Yeah, it's this one, and we can extrude. So we extrude, oops, sorry, that's not tab, that's caps locks. Extruding, that's also nice. And we can do things like that as well, but in my case they are too small, so quad strip width, you know, I would change it. Oh, what was it? Tab again, I'm holding a wrong button here. So there are some tools you can kind of make your work much faster doing like this. Of course, for the beginning I would suggest just actually placing each vertex where it's supposed to be, so you're really thinking about it. So this is, you know, this is, oh sorry, again wrong button. Again, this is much faster, but you are not specifically thinking what are you doing that much. So it's good for connecting things when you already have the basics, but for start I would say just actually create each vertex on your own. Shift left mouse button, click between dots to create geometry. between dots, so let's create some dots. Shift left, right, left. Oh yeah, that's just creating polygons like we started. What else? Left mouse button, drag to tweak components. So again, that's what we did. Middle mouse button, drag components along normals. We don't know what normals are yet, so we'll ignore that. Click edge to insert loop. Control left mouse button, control and left. You see, we can create more detail just by we create another edge loop just by one click. Click edge loop to center. Centered loop, yeah, that's what we did. Relax points, that's pretty important. Shift right left. So we are relaxing. So how should I explain it? I guess you'll have to kind of try it yourself. So if we create some weird thing here and we try to relax, it kind of tries to get to the best position. It's really hard to explain. I hope you will understand it by doing and try all the rest of what is written here. So I'm not gonna go through all of them. Of course, the most important are just click, 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 shift, you create it. Oops, sorry, that's stupid. Click and shift. So this is the most important part, and of course tweaking and the relaxation is also important, but I have a hard time to imagine how to explain it. So like that, and I'm again trying to do a edge loop around my mouth, which I haven't planned, so I'm not gonna do a good job here. So hopefully you already planned and you know better how it will go. Oh yeah, I need more components here, so I'll go with multicut. See here, I can grab multicut, or was it multicut, and I go back to quadro again, and now I created more components so I can work better, define the shape better. Okay, let's try building a dog and a human face.